When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the Wild. Septum Sin versus the Wild. Septum Sin versus the Wild. Septum Sin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sin versus the World. I'm Septum Sin. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hey.
And we're here to show you what we got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Well, we got some interesting stuff this week.
Yes, very interesting.
Ah, there we go. I got a cat.
Yes. So, one thing I did not get was I did turn down my Disney Movie Club offer of that movie, but I figured $30 was a little much.
Yeah,
so
same here on that one.
They'll probably have it as the bonus for Endgame, so I'll get them then, you know. But at any rate, plus I'm still waiting for them to ship my last damn order. Anyway, speaking of properties that Disney is involved with, but I don't think they were involved with this particular release, I don't think.
Oh.
I'm actually reaching back to kick things off. I'm actually reaching back to a eBay purchase from months ago at this point. I'm almost certain I did not present it here. And I actually was a little disappointed when I got this because I am a collector, and certain things require a collector's edition, and this is not. But it saves a lot of space, and it was a tremendous upgrade from what was cluttering up my collection before, and that is the Star Wars The Good trilogy.
Ah.
But it's in a single small package, and I'm pretty certain this is a legit release.
Yeah.
But it looks from the back, from all the French on it, that it's a Canadian release.
That's one of the Lucas edits, I think.
Is it? But whatever the case, it takes up a whole lot less space. It's Blu-ray. It's nice. I will eventually crack into this and see if I feel like it's worth holding on to this or getting a better edition, but for the meantime, I was never as big a fanatic of Star Wars as some people are, so I'm kind of willing to go with this, but we'll see.
Alright. Well, I am starting off with the last of that $100 set I got. And that is Ultimate Otaku Teacher.
All right.
I talked about it a little bit earlier because I had to watch it. Because in this set, this is the only one that was opened. So apparently he watched the first half and was like, fuck this series. And left this unopened. It's not a bad series. It's, I mean, you can see these here. I mean, I got these really cheap. One of these days I'm going to have to show off the whole thing once I got it. I can't remember what it was on that. I'll look it up once when you're talking about your next one. I can put it out there. But this was actually a pretty cool series. I enjoyed it. It's about this guy who basically is a lazy person who says, if it's not something I'm interested in, I ain't doing it. And he calls it a disease. He's the disease. Any case, that's pretty much all of it. That's all I can say about this. He does take an interest in teaching after being threatened physically, and these students get behind him. And it is very entertaining, very enjoyable. Great series, worth the price I paid for it.
Sounds like in some ways not that dissimilar from the setup to School of Rock.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of interesting.
I've never seen that one.
Really? Oh,
I was in an
that's a good-
anti-Jack Black period at the time because I felt like he was trying too hard to be Chris Farley.
No, in that movie he was trying very hard to be Jack Black.
Yeah.
And when he plays Jack Black, he does it well. But at any rate, my next movie, speaking of movies that star people that sometimes are not not everyone is a fan of, as I learned recently on Movies Galore. Next up, I have a conversion. A movie that I had on DVD, but I managed to get the Blu-ray for $1, and I could not pass that up. So I have a Blu-ray edition of the movie that won George Clooney his acting Oscar, Syriana, which is a really good movie, but a hard movie to watch. But pretty impressive cast overall. Chris Cooper, Jeffrey Wright, Matt Damon, Tim Blake Nelson, Amanda Peet, Christopher Plummer, Alexander Siddig, music by Alexander Desplat. I mean, it was some serious talent involved here. Clooney won a supporting actor Oscar. I think this was the year that Good Night and Good Luck got him nominations in every other category.
Yeah.
But again, this was a conversion. I love opportunities to convert to Blu-ray because it saves space. I still need to offload my old copy, but that will happen soon enough. This is the first of a few that I'm going to do. We have had a lot of donations lately at the library. I guess people are doing spring cleaning or something.
Yeah.
And someone brought in a ton of DVDs and a few Blu-rays, and I picked up 4 of them, and this is the first of the 4. Yeah.
Okay, I got the email where I sent it. Basically, it's Sweet Blue Flowers, Servant Service, School Days, ReZero, and Otaku Teacher.
Okay.
Oh, and One Punch Man.
That's not bad.
Not bad for what I paid.
Yes, but think about what you paid from watching School Days.
No, I paid for that. I did record a review for it. I just have to actually edit it and
Good deal.
put it up there.
Cool.
Next up, one that I was actually from last Friday's video, which was my 10 first impression ones, and it's gotten a couple of positive comments, just not on the YouTube channel. But still, a lot of it was things that people didn't know.
Right.
Now, I recently watched this, and this is a copy, again, a bootleg copy of Mouse and Child, or Extraordinary Things of Mouse and Child. Of course, you can see my mermaid scar thing in there, which I took from the video cassette, which is hard to find, even the video cassette of Mermaid Scar.
Are we on for that this week?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Supposedly. But it's a pretty good one. I just rewatched it again, trying to do research for that for our video in July about top 10 anime movies. This one is weird because Charles Schultz was involved.
Really?
In this, yes. So they kind of worked together to get this as a release. And it has quite a nice English track to it. Pretty cool animation. Does not look Japanese animation-wise. But I do know that it was. So that is a pretty impressive film, child's film. Comparing it to Jack and the Beanstalk, even though I have Jack and the Beanstalk I have more sentimental value, I have to say that this one was better animated. So, still, very cool. And this is, now you can see how they fit together.
Right.
He sort of lifts the child up in the air and walks, as you can see, with it. So, and it's pretty dark in places for a child's film. There's scenes where they smash these living toys to bits, and you get to watch them do it. That's pretty hard for children to watch.
Yeah.
But, yep.
So, my next film has a lot of stuff getting smashed to bits, and you could say it's probably aimed at a youngish demographic, but not quite little kids. But the next one is notable because I went through my phase where I was all about reading what the critics had to say, and I had my favorite critics, and I really liked reading Roger Ebert's criticisms. He had a way with words. He had a gift with words. And this next movie is most notable in my memory, in my mind, as for one particular thing that Ebert said. He said about this film, and I may not have the quote correct because it's been close to 20 years now, But he said that this movie was an hour-and-a-half movie squeezed into 3 hours about the December 7, 1941 Japanese bombing of an American love triangle.
Oh, I know
And I
which
am
one that is.
speaking, of course, of Pearl Harbor.
Hey, it won an Oscar.
Yes, Oscar film. Hard to say, but it's a Michael Bay film, so you know lots of stuff got blowed up. And you got Ben Affleck, Josh Hartnett, Kate Beckinsale, John Voight, and Alec Baldwin, and post-Oscar Cuba Gooding Jr., which is unfortunate. But anyway, Cuba Gooding Jr. was one of those people whose careers were ruined by an Oscar, but he's turning it around. And then, of course, music by Hans Zimmer, which I don't know what the Academy's fetish for Hans Zimmer is, but I did love the score to Lion King. But this did have a nomination for the music. I think Faith Hill sings the theme song from this that was up for an Oscar. But you have to admit, this is a cool-looking set.
That is a cool set.
That is a very cool-looking set. And
That's much cooler than my, plain Blu-ray.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? For $1, I am more than happy to fill up a little bit of space on my shelf with a cool-looking set. And it's not a terrible movie. It's watchable. It's relatively entertaining. It's not Michael Bay's best film by any means, nor Josh Hartnett or Ben Affleck or any of them.
That was the Transformers movie. You didn't know Ben Affleck was in that the entire time.
This is better than Transformers. Yes. But, actually, it's funny you say that, because I've been watching Arrow lately, and the dude that plays Roy Harper, I was looking at his credits, I was like, oh, his first movie credit is an uncredited appearance in Transformers. Talk about it can only go uphill from here. But yeah, there you go.
Indeed. My next one is one. Remember when I had brought up that nice pickup for that NIS pickup?
Right.
I picked up another show, but I hadn't finished watching it yet, so I couldn't actually. And this is about average price, but it is out of print, and that is Lovely Complex.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool set. I was worried about whether it was legit or not, but I have figured it is. I found out it is a legit discotheque release. And it's a fun set. I actually like the art on the discs. The art's kind of cool and cartoony looking on the discs. The series art kind of reminds...
Wait, let me see that.
That's kind of cool and cartoony.
It almost reminds me of the art for Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yeah.
And the art in the series itself, I mean, you can see here, it almost reminds me of Koto-chan.
It does, yes.
And
is it the same creative team?
It is not, from what I've done
Okay.
research-wise. But it's a pretty fun series. It's about these two people with complexes. One is really tall for her age. One is really short for his age. And they both have a complex over it. And they both want to find love. And eventually, they find love in each other. And that is all I'm going to say about that.
All right. Now, my next one, speaking, I made reference to Scott Pilgrim, but speaking of off-the-beaten-path American comics, a film that actually, from what I understand, is an adaptation of a graphic novel that I never have read, that was also, like Pearl Harbor, an Oscar nominee for its sound, is a film I've been wanting to see for a while, and again, 2-disc special edition, I figured it was worth picking up for $1, is the movie Wanted, which has Angelina Jolie, Morgan Freeman, Terrence Stamp, James McAvoy, Thomas Kretschmann, Common. That's a pretty cool cast there.
Yeah, it is.
And, you got, it's directed by Timur Bekmambetov. Isn't he the guy who did Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? That was a tedious film. I hope this is not as tedious.
I enjoyed it.
But I do want to see this. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be good. Like I said, I think it was nominated for its sound. But I mean, anytime you got McAvoy, Jolie, and Freeman together, I think it's worth looking at.
Well, this next one is a video game. Limited Run Games is at it again, even though my copy of Celeste still hasn't come yet. But they said because they're adding in the DLC to the little discs, they went behind schedule. This one came just ahead of schedule, which is Dragon Fantasy. I was hoping they would put the second game on there, but it's kind of cool. It has a bald guy as the main character. It's just sort of like a traditional RPG style game that runs along the lines of a lot of your traditional old school RPGs. And since I've been into some Dragon Warrior lately, it's kind of cool. And this is, by the way, the physical copy of it, and it's mostly a digital release. That's why Limited Run Games, well, you know, exists. So it's kind of cool to have that.
Cool.
All right.
So actually, the last one of these four, I actually picked up 4 Oscar-nominated films. It's kind of interesting, kind of sad when you consider, you know, that Pearl Harbor is one of them, and maybe Wanted. This is arguably one of the highest profile, probably the highest profile of the bunch. And it's an older film that I really need to see. I never have seen this. And I believe it was a Best Picture nominee. Nominated for 8 awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, and 1 cinematography and 2 other awards. And I'm talking, of course, of the 1971 film Fiddler on the Roof, which like I said, I never have seen this, but I need to. Norman Jewison film, starred Topol. Yeah. But yeah, that's one. This has been on my to-do list for a long time, especially since I'm trying to knock out the Best Picture nominees that I've never seen.
So that's my version. So you got a better version, I think.
Do I? I probably. Well, you got 40th anniversary, but
it has
there's a special feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, this actually has a few. It's got a few special features, so that's not too bad. It's kind of sad though. This is the special edition, and he's got the 40th anniversary edition.
They apparently didn't like it on its 40th anniversary.
But yeah, like I said, I'm very happy to. I'm about 80-90% certain I don't have a copy already. But now I definitely do.
This next one I just had to grab off the shelf because I just realized that, I've got 5. I need one more.
Okay.
And this is one I did a review for a while back. I bought it out of a lot from Dustin, who does the YouTube channel, The Crypt of Horrors, I believe it is. Not horrors, but horrors. And he's got a pretty good channel for pickups and stuff. When he updates, it's pretty cool. So he sold me this one here. I saw it and I saw G-Kids. I'm like, G-Kids? Okay, I got to see it. And that was the movie Wrinkles.
Ah, yeah.
This was really good. And if you want an in-depth look, I did a review. But, of course, Martin Sheen, Matthew Modine, and George Coe. It's about this group of older individuals, and they are all together in a old folks' home. I believe it's in... I can't remember where it is. It's in, I think, South America somewhere, or Spain. Spain, I think. And it deals with a lot of things like loneliness, aspects of being in one of the old folks' homes. There's actually a scene here where they're kind of escaping. You get to see one man, actually, as they show in the picture here, it's a very artistic view of his journey with Alzheimer's. And you get to see that basically as his personality kind of goes away. It's a very sad film, but still a very good film. Very much worth talking about. It shows that animation is indeed a storytelling format that is good for both adults and for children alike. You know, for kids.
Yes, exactly. Actually, just a couple of days ago, I was reading a review, a panel discussion with, I think, a con where they were talking to people about the issue of adult animation and, you know, how it suffers from an image problem and a marketing problem more than anything, which I agree with. I'm a huge booster for animation as a medium for any age, but there's so many people hung up on the idea that cartoons are for kids.
Show Waltz with Bashir for kindergarten.
Yes. Okay, so show for kids. So let's say, okay, so hey kids, we're going to watch Waltz with Bashir, Grave of the Fireflies, 5 centimeters per second, Ninja Scroll.
I mean, shoot, watch Barefoot Ken. It looks like a child's anime if you look at the cover, but I have rarely sat through There was a moment in that movie, that first movie, where I sat there like this.
Yeah.
For like a good solid minute, because I was just in shock.
And we were just talking anime, but also things like, like Wrinkles or like
Waltz with Bashir.
Waltz with Bashir. What was that one? Was it Chico and Rita?
Yeah, or Persepolis.
Or My Entire High School Sinking into the Sea. You know, these are not kids' movies. But anyway, so speaking of old people, but not as old as that, there is a series that is very, very, very popular at the library. People love them some British series, and people love them some detective series. So they really love them some British detective series. And there is one that I have been curious about. God knows when I'll get to this because of where it falls in the alphabet, but I got an opportunity to pick up a huge chunk of it, and I couldn't pass it up. So I got Vera, which stars Brenda Blethyn. I got Vera Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4 with a slipcover. Volume 5 also has a slipcover. And Volume 6 still has the tags from Barnes & Noble, which, if you look at that, Barnes & Noble charged $60 for this thing. $60.
Good Lord.
Barnes & Noble just insane when it comes to those prices.
They don't know how to price things.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Unfortunately, it looks like there's some writing on the back of this slipcover, but whatever. It could be worse.
Yeah.
But, at any rate, so this is practically new. They're all practically new. So you have 6 series, however you wish to call it, of a very popular series that I think is 8 seasons long, so it's a big chunk of it. I found this at one of the other libraries in our system, already on the shelf, and picked it up for $2 a volume. So it was $12 for the whole pile. But, like I said, I want to see this show. I'm very curious about it, and getting that much of it, I could not pass that up.
That is a lot of a series.
Yeah, so looking forward to that one. But again, God knows when I'm going to get to that.
Well, my last pickup is a pretty simple one. If you see my review for Camp Blood Kills, who knows when I get that edited up. Probably quickly, because I don't have a lot of pictures and stuff to throw up on that one. But it covers various movies, and there's 2 that I did not own. It pulls from Camp Blood 3 through 8, but it also pulls from Axe Grinder, which I still don't have and I do need to get, and another movie which is not in David Sterling's little collection, which is The Occultist. This is the one part that you might have problems with because it talks... Well, you can see on the cover.
Yeah, it looks pretty rough.
And I'm curious about it. It came loose in the disc, so I'm going to have to watch it first just to see before I enter it in the collection. It doesn't look like it's that badly damaged, but, you know... Actually, no, it does. Look at that.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. So, I just got to take a look at it and make sure. before I put it in my collection. But it says H.P. Lovecraft Presents, so that always is a good sign, right?
Oh yeah, it's good times.
Well, that's about it.
Yep.
So, let us know what you've picked up over the last week and what interests you.
Yep.
And we will see you on the next one.
Oh, and you should also do a plug since this is our other main video this week, right?
Oh yeah, we are going to be doing the other video from his perspective.
Yes, you should tune in for my list of the
still
most
need to edit it.
influential anime, part 1.
So, take care.